an oath, sacred prayer, and we swear to remember it all too well. Well, maybe we got lost in translation. Maybe I asked for too much, but maybe this thing was a masterpiece till you tore it all up. Running scared, I was there, I remember it all too well. And you call me up again just to break me like a promise, so casually cruel in the name of being honest. I'm a crumpled up piece of paper lying here, 'cause I remember it all. Again, when nobody had to know, you kept me like a secret, but I kept you like an oath, sacred prayer, and we swear to remember it all too well. Well, maybe we got lost in translation. Maybe I asked for too much, but maybe this thing was a masterpiece till you tore it all up. Running scared, I was there, I remember it all too well. And you call me up again just to break me like a promise, so casually cruel in the name of being honest. I'm a crumpled up piece of paper lying here, 'cause I remember it all. Here we are again, when nobody had to know. You kept me like a secret, but I kept you like an oath, sacred prayer, and we swear to remember it all too well. Well, maybe we got lost in translation. Maybe I asked for too much, but maybe this thing was a masterpiece till you tore it all up. Running scared, I was there, I remember it all too well. And you call me up again just to break me like a promise, so casually cruel in the name of being honest. I'm a crumpled up piece of paper lying here, 'cause I remember it all.
Hey. I was just enjoying that music and enjoying myself. Good afternoon, everyone, and thanks for being here again. This is the final edition of our mental health training, which we're supposed to have yesterday, but we couldn't have it for some logistical Guinea con problem. But welcome again to the last and final session of our mental health training. And I'm super excited to have you here with me. But before we begin, let's head straight to the rules of engagement like I always share with us. So the first thing first is that please turn on the caption on your end to get the subtitle of this transcription of everything that we'll be talking about this afternoon. So turn on the caption. You should find the caption somewhere on your screen. Maybe just look up or just look down. They're going to find the caption there. So this is the fifth and final session of our 1 month mental health training. Wow. Whoop. We've been having this since the 3rd of April, and now we're in the 23rd 3rd day of April, which is the final one. And as you've been reminded, this is a free training, but if you're interested in getting an e-certificate, it's available for the sum of 2,000 naira only. For those who signified interest in the e-certificate during the course of the registration and you haven't paid, note that the payment of your 2K validates the designing of your certificates and not the other way around, so that you're not going to use your money that you're supposed to use for certificates to go and buy something else. So please make the payments in the designated numbers I'll be showing on your screen very soon. We'll be having thoughtful and engaging conversations in the comment section as we proceed in this session. So please stay with us and participate in the conversations that will be going on. You can participate by asking questions, you can participate by sharing your opinions, you can participate by sharing your experiences, because we are going to be discussing real issues this afternoon. So let us know what you are equally picking up and learning as the session unfolds. We'll be so delighted to hear from you. If you're unable to comment, please let us know as well, so that we'll know what we can do. Go and meet the technician at the back to knock his head, so that you'll be able to make your comments show. Also, please read the banner that will be rolling on your screen from time to time, as it will contain information from the session that will be useful to you. Finally, there will be a live draw. As always, there's always a live draw, and this time around we'll be winning airtimes and books from the Dearest Society series. My name is Pai Giddy, and I'm delighted to be your host again. And with me in the studio, we have a very wonderful person. But before then, let's go back and listen to this video again. You need to hear good music for yourself. You need to hear good music.
Here we are again when nobody had to know. You kept me like a secret, but I kept you like an oath. Sacred prayer, and we swear to remember it all too well. Well, maybe we got lost in translation. Maybe I asked for too much, but maybe this thing was a masterpiece till you tore it all up. Running scared, I was there. I remember it all too well. And you call me up again just to break me like a promise. So casually cruel in the name of being honest. I'm a crumpled up piece of paper lying here, 'cause I remember it all.
Okay, welcome back. Can you see me? Yes. Welcome back. I love Taylor Swift so much because her music is always on point, straight to the point. There is no mistake, there is no come out with her music, and it helps to set the mood into a zoom atmosphere. So quite a number of people deal with psychological issues in their romantic lives, but not many understand these issues. They don't understand what are the signs, what are the causes, and what can be done about the issues that they're experiencing. So during this session this afternoon, we'll be considering the topic psychological issues in relationships. I mean, we know of the financial issues in relationship, we know of the physical issues in relationships. Somehow, we know of the emotional issues in relationship. We've even discussed emotional traumas in relationship. But okay, and we discussed the sexual issues in relationships too. But now we are talking about the psychological issues in relationships. And for the second time in our session, during this training, we'll be having someone whom I love so much. It's going to be an interesting conversation that is going to settle certain questions and issues we've always had regarding relationships and our mental health. So I hope you stay with us and don't miss even 1 second of this process. But before we proceed, I want to show us one interesting and amazing video. I want you to sit back and enjoy this. It's a cinematic experience. Me, I'll show you. Wow. Okay, so that is the video of the trailer of my latest book in the Dare Suicide series titled Dare Suicide for the Beginning of the End. And this afternoon, we'll be discussing chapter 27 and 28 of the Dare Suicide for titled The Beginning of the End and the half of it. So we are going to be having a double discussion this afternoon. We'll be discussing chapter 27 and be discussing chapter 28 of Dare Suicide. And that's of Dare Suicide book 4. And it is in this books that the psychological and relationship issues comes up. And just like I mentioned, we've been discussing the Dare Suicide book 4 so far, and we've been bringing out issues from the book that relates to basic problems we encounter in our relationships. And I'm going to share my screen now with us so that we would get into the book. Please just spare me 30 seconds or more. Come, please. Okay. Okay. I hope you can see what is going on. If you can't see it, I may have to close this and open it again. Please just spare me a moment to get this up.
And there we are again when nobody had to know. You kept me like a secret, but I kept you like an oath. Sacred prayer, and we swear to remember it all too well. Well, maybe we got lost in translation. Maybe I
Yes, sorry for that earlier on. So yes, like I said, I will be discussing Terror Suicide 4, and as you can see on the screen, here is the book. This small. Let me increase the fonts for us to see very well. Okay. All right. Part 27 of Terror Suicide Home Sweet Home. Wow. Yes, sorry, I don't know what's wrong with my mouse this afternoon. Okay. Yeah, we are there. So, Home Sweet Home. It feels so good to have spent the last couple of days with you. I'm glad the whole time went fine, and I really hope that's true for everyone. I'm glad you're fine, that you're okay. It makes me happy. Beyond the pleasure, I'm happy that we can talk as friends and God's got us. I know that there would be situations or circumstances that would try to shake us, but I trust God that we would always be standing strong, come what may. You'll be fine. I'll be fine. We'll be fine. Let's keep aiming higher. May God bless the labor of our hands. Take good care of yourself. Thanks for the memories. I'm home with you, sweet home. Don't forget that I got your back. Okay, so we are back to our story. 3 weeks NYC camping was over. Ban on calls and SMS was supposedly lifted. I invited her to come spend some days with me, and there was just one thing on my mind. I'd messed things up so badly that I wanted her to come see me and see things for herself, possibly and hopefully, so it will erase whatever was wrong with me or with us. At least, when you see someone you haven't seen for a while, someone you are in love with, and someone you miss, it erases lost love, eliminates self-doubt, and renews soul passion. How do they say that thing again? Absence makes the heart grow fonder. The sex we had was good. My first ever mutual intercourse. She sure made me feel comfortable doing what I'd previously felt scared of doing. And the memories that came with it was special for me, possibly for her too. Possibly. But things weren't really as clear as anyone would have expected of a and they lived happily ever after sort of thing. Scared to say, things had been so edgy between us in the weeks leading up to when we finally reunited that I didn't know if I had sex with my girlfriend or just a girl who wanted to have sex with me. Let's scroll down to part 28. Part 28 is the half of it, as you can see. Yeah, part 28 is the half of it. So now let me read that part too. There's a story I want to get into, but there are so many halves of this story left unsaid. Halves that were only brushed on surface level between the end of between the end of chapter 27 and beginning of chapter 30. A whole lot happened which I figured has to be included so as to connect the long gap therein. Well, if that gap is taken away, no one will still know, and it may not be a problem at all. But it's going to give me a personal headache and make me feel like I didn't write this thing well enough. So maybe it's only okay that I open up on these apps, my part of the app though. If we talk about certain things in certain ways based on how we feel about certain things, maybe that's exactly what happened. Maybe that's exactly how these things happened. So maybe if I didn't return to Abuja for a second stint after my call to bar and I wasn't posted to Enugu, maybe if I just stayed back in Lagos permanently, pending the time NYC registration came out, we could have remained a happy couple and probably still be dating by now. It may say something don't happen there. Probably. Maybe, maybe not. But I guess I would have been able to handle things better and wouldn't have allowed things end the way it did. Again, maybe, maybe not. Because there's a part of me that believes she would have called me and disturbed me and bothered me and ensured I talk about what exactly is going on. Or even come over and see me and do things that will make me want to talk. Maybe, just maybe, I would have talked. Probably, most probably. But you see, I wasn't anywhere close to where she was. And the only thing that was on my mind was once I get my house, I will be able to call you and talk about why I was silent and everything that was happening to me and explain myself better. But apart from the fact that the house came very, very, very late, Trem also happened. Hmm, wonderful, just wonderful. So, like I said, we've been discussing Dearest Suicide Book 4, and I have with me in the studio Humphrey Shayo, that's based in USA. Humphrey is a Tanzanian that's based in USA. He's always intrigued with human psychology and ways of life. He enjoys reading and engaging in deep thoughts. He has a diploma in he has a diploma in procurement and supplies and certificate in business administration. He has 6 years working experience in healthcare setting at procurement department and quality improvement and patient safety department. And apart from that, Humphrey is my friend of over 2 years now. And I'm going to do my drums rolls as I bring with me into the studio Humphrey Sha. How are you doing today?
I'm fine, thanks. I'm really happy to be here. I hope I'm audible enough and
You're
you
very,
can
very
hear me
audible.
well.
You're very, very audible. I can hear you very, very well, and I'm sure my guests can also hear you well.
All right. I'm happy to be here. Oh, the part that you read. Woo. Okay. Okay.
So, what do you say about that?
I mean, to me personally, I think we are all captured in a continuous cycle of making mistakes,
Okay.
especially in our relationships that we have, whether a family relationship, whether romantic relationship, whether intimate relationship, whether friendship, because of the past that has been given to us. In party 33, when we were speaking, actually part of the thing that actually came to mind, and it's like a mustard seed of all this, is the fact that we don't give ourselves room to answer questions which are in our minds.
Okay.
In doing so, we do not communicate because sometimes it's not always about me, myself. I need to put myself in the shoes of the other person. Let's say we're in a friendship zone, me and my friend. If I see a relationship is going sideways, if I see that there are things which I do not like, he or she is not an angel to just magically know that something is wrong until one
Hmm.
communicates, until one is bold enough to say, can we have a talk
Hmm.
on this matter? Then it's kind of questionable how the other person will react, because truly we won't get their true emotion, we won't get their true response if they don't really know how we feel. And
Hmm.
we are coming from backgrounds where our ancestors, our parents, our genealogy have been in continuous cycle of suppressing things,
Okay.
keeping everything bottomed up into your heart, into your soul. Like keep it there. That you know you're not given a room to open up and let someone in. We are covered in
Hmm.
this bubble of Fear. You just read a part where you are like, maybe someday I could have talked about these matters, but you
Mm-hmm.
will not know if you are capable enough of talking about those matters. What if even all those things you have the house, you have resources, you have all capacity, but will you still be in position to share? Will you be bold enough to tell, oh, listen, my lady, there is this and this problem, that can we talk about it? We are not built to have those hard talks. We are not built to, we want to play nice. For the lack of better words, I will say we want to play nice. We want to be the good guys. Nobody
Mm,
wants to be the bad guy.
mm.
So there's a place I was reading. I'll just read a little piece here. So I was reading
Okay.
from it's one of psychological journals. One person wrote. Her name is Miss Takala. Somebody. I'll send the link later on. So
All
it's
right.
saying most people probably like you are managing many relationships on ongoing basis, relationship with a loved one, with their children, with other family members, friends, work relationships, and romantic relationships. Each of these relationships can be a source of love, pleasure, support, and excitement. However, they can also be a part of grief and anguish if they are heading in unhealthy direction. Each of our relationship has its demands and potential problems, and each has the potential to influence the way we feel at any given time. I find this very intriguing that our connection with people can either build us or destroy us. That's
Okay.
fact. That is straight up. My relationship with my friends, my relationship with my parents, my siblings, the people around me have a potential to destroy me or to build me up. So it's upon us to reach to a point where we can decide, okay, how do we want this relationship to take us from one level to another level? Do we want this relationship nature to uplift us or destroy us?
Hmm. Wow, I love how you say that so well. And one thing that I know about relationships is that we are always taught so many things. I mean, right from our, let's say, our teenage. No, don't let me even say our teenage. From our growing up age, from our early childhood, we have friends that we go and maybe in our neighborhoods. Now I'm speaking from the African perspective, Nigerian
Mm,
perspective especially. We have friends that we go out and play with. We have cousins, we have family members, and we go for birthday parties and all this kind of thing. It is in these friendships and relationships that we get to meet people, that we get to connect, that we get to exchange ideas and the things that build us up. And it is in the process of these relationships and communications and dealings that it begins to shape our personalities, our way of life, our strength, our weaknesses, um, how we handle things, how we cope with things, how we relate with things, and going on to the extent of relationships in itself, especially when we enter secondary school, you begin to like this boy or begin to like this girl. If your childhood was the stage where you could express yourself very well, then you are well able to express yourself to the girl that you like, even though you may still be in GS2 or you may still be in GS3. Those are the kind of things that they call crush. When you start having a crush on this person and you start thinking, how do I talk to this person? Let me borrow me your pencil, borrow me your biro, borrow me your eraser, borrow me your have you done your assignment, all this kind of thing. Then you start entering GS3, SS1. Man, puberty begins to come in very, very well. The boy begins to produce sperm, the girl begins to produce bread. Do they produce or they grow? Okay, anyone. So this
they
girl begins
start
to,
to experience menses and
yes.
everything. Growing up happens.
Thank Thank you. So growth begins to happen, and it also has a lot of things going with your emotions, going with your psychology. It affects how you are better if you are not will I use the word trained, because trained is not the word I'm supposed to use, but if you are not shown how to experience these things or how to have these things, it affects how you express these dealings. So you begin to have issues, you begin to have um, psychological cramps. Let me put it that way, psychological cramps, and you start. reacting to things, not able to express things possibly, or you are even well able to express things possibly. So if you're the kind of person that has been very, very, very vocal, you begin to talk to the girl, you begin to say how you like the girl, what you want to do with the girl, even though you are saying SS1 or SS2, you begin to grow up. If you are not the kind of person that expresses himself or herself, then you begin to withdraw. You don't know how to talk. You don't know what exactly to say. You know you like this girl so much, but you don't know exactly what to say. And you begin to do this from the SS1, SS2, SS3, it goes up. By the time you enter university, some people have already gone through 3, 4 relationships. You have not even told the girl you like the girl. All right. So that begins to build up again, your 100 level, your 200 level. God help you so much. You now find yourself in fellowship, a fellowship where they don't do relationship stuff, that you have to see the counseling units before you can do this, or you have to see that. And it affects, and everything builds up like that. So when I get into the world where the guy cannot say what he wants with a girl, which is the main thing. Communicate. He cannot communicate himself because he's trying to be a good boy. He has been taught from a very young age to be a very, very good boy. Boys don't hurt girls. Boys don't do this. Boys are men. You have to be a man to be able to do this. And for girls, they are known, they will say that yeah, you don't say you like a boy. Allow the boy come and meet you. This and that. So with time, you begin to see that you are either well skilled to be able to express your feelings to the girl you like, or you have difficulty expressing your feelings to the girl you like because you just don't know how to do it. You are not trained to be that kind of person.
So I noted something down when you were talking, something to deal
Yeah.
with emotional intelligence. To In most cases, what happens when we are growing up? We were raised in an environment where at some point our past, our growing up left some marks into our lifestyle, into our traits, into our behaviors. And all these come and manifest when we are at puberty.
Okay.
Most of the times, there are contributing factors. We spoke in session one about maybe trauma, childhood traumas, and the things that can happen where they can push you to an age when you are growing up, when you're reaching this puberty stage at this moment. Now, when you're talking about someone not being bold enough to develop courage to get into relationship, it happens also in life, chasing what you need. Let's say it's career, maybe it's education, maybe it's a certain fellowship that you want, maybe it's a sponsorship, maybe it's a scholarship. Doing all that, if we are not built enough to develop emotional intelligence that help us to understand rejection and move on,
Okay.
help us understand chasing the things that we need regardless of the outcome, because we are just told work hard, work hard, work hard, but we are not told
Hmm.
that even if you work hard, it is not necessarily a guarantee that whenever you work hard, eventually everything will be rosy and smooth. The road will be
Hmm.
just laid down for you. Sometimes you'll go through the hills, you'll go through the valleys, but through it all, you need to guard your emotions and learn to separate your emotions from your action. Because one, I read a crazy quote somewhere, I don't remember, I'm just paraphrasing it. They say you may do a stupid mistake which can cost you tons of money, resources, and even reputation, because you acted out of emotions, out of feeling. Imagine someone who just
Hmm.
caught the girl, maybe in a relationship, you get your partner cheating, and then you act up, you beat up the other guy. The other guy maybe had seizures and this, and then he passes away. You go to jail for the rest of your life. But that fact that you acted because of your emotions has costed you your
Hmm.
freedom. You get it?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
emotional intelligence, I think it is something which in our generation we need to work so hard so that we can teach the next generation not to do the same mistakes that maybe we went through. Maybe we equip them with tools that as they grow up, they can be able to chase their dreams while they are very strong, while they are having things to hold on to, and they have a fallback plan that even if things don't work out, I can reset, restart, rebuild myself, and go on.
I wanted to ask that as because you are speaking about emotional intelligence, how can we build our emotional intelligence? I mean, we always hear about emotional intelligence every now and then, and for some reasons best known to cliche, it sounds more um, sweet in the sound of it than what people actually understand it to be. So, first of all, what exactly is emotional intelligence? Then, how can we build our emotional intelligence when it comes to our relationships with our partners?
So just off the net and off what the current norm is, if you just mention emotional intelligence, someone like Kendra Cherry will tell you, oh, is an ability of you having capacity of processing, interpreting, to demonstrate, to control, and to evaluate your emotions and to communicate them effectively. So, in simple layman language, I will say emotional intelligence is your reaction towards what is happening in your surroundings and how you communicate them or how you reflect them to the people that surround you. So definitely sadness or happiness or all sorts of those feelings that happen because of the events. Maybe it's a tragic accident, maybe it's a loss, maybe it's this, all those things that happen, they're actions in your community, but your reaction towards those events is your
Okay.
emotional intelligence. So how I
Hmm.
react to the loss of a loved one, how I react to losing my job, how I react to losing a relationship, maybe a rejection. It could be that maybe I approached someone and then I got rejected. I went to take a proposal somewhere, I got rejected. How I deal with those events, it manifests my emotional intelligence. Now, to me, when I'm talking about this, I'm thinking of think of someone who hold grudges. Someone is thinking of something which happened 5, 10, 20 years ago, and they're still holding on to it, you know.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
that person, immediately I say they have low emotional intelligence. There is no way I'm going to allow myself to be a prisoner of something that happens 10 years ago. 10 years ago is done and gone. I cannot change the scenario that happened 10 years ago. I have to accept it, take responsibility for it, and then move on.
That's right.
Those are the three key things that someone can do. Event happen, you accept it that it happened. If it needs responsibility, you take that responsibility, then you move on. Things happen and then you are starting to find a person to blame while it was your own cause, then it's not going to help. Let's say, supposedly, to most youth, sometimes it's kind of hard for them to accept that you need to work hard for you to excel. So maybe they don't do well in academics and then they end up giving up, they don't go to school. You're a good example. You persevered, like despite all the redo of exams, the retake of exams, but you persevered. You wanted that for yourself. That shows your
Yes.
emotional intelligence. Somebody else could have simply said, oh, I discontinued the year, I'm done with school, I don't need to get this degree, I'm out. But
Mm-hmm.
the fact that you persevered shows your emotional intelligence is high. You say that I need this for myself. I made a mistake
Mm-hmm.
in this course, but I'm not going to do the same mistake again. If I take another course, I won't do the same mistake. Then you
That's right.
persevered. You accepted that, first of all, I messed up. I messed up because I failed this. You took responsibility by going back to class and redo those classes. And then you
Mm-hmm.
moved on by making sure that you pass those classes.
Sure, sure, sure. That's very very true, and I can remember that so well concerning the exam. I mean, having 7 carryover courses in the university and not knowing exactly what to do when all my colleagues were going straight to the next phase of their lives. And yes, I needed to, yeah, that's true. I saw that something has happened and I accepted it because I knew that this is what is supposed to happen. And If I didn't, that's true. If I didn't take responsibility of what happened, and if I didn't forgive myself also, I forgive myself. I allow that, yes, this has happened. I had to forgive myself so as to able to move on to the next thing. Because if I didn't accept it, I didn't take responsibility, I didn't forgive myself, I'll be unable to move on. Now, in our social dealings and in our relationship dealings, we have traumas. The first time we spoke about emotional trauma, and emotional trauma goes a long way in affecting our relationships psychologically, right? So there is a question here that one of us asked in the course of the previous this thing, that how do I stop someone? Let me look at it. How do I stop someone emotional trauma from affecting my relationship? How do I stop someone's emotional trauma from affecting my relationship? Because there are there are lots of emotional baggages that we do have. For me, in the book that we read, one could say I had some emotional baggages which I thought I had dealt with, but it was the fear of not repeating what I did, or no, what happened to me in the first relationship to happen in this second relationship, that was making me not able to communicate to her effectively, because I was scared of saying the wrong things. I was scared of hurting her feelings. I was scared of not really being there, or just feeling like I'm complaining about things. I wanted to be myself. I wanted to man up. So now, how how do we stop how do you have question again? How do someone stop emotional trauma from affecting our relationship?
So first, to begin with, different people are affected differently with childhood or emotional trauma that happened when they were young. So
Okay.
the extent or the magnitude of the effect varies from a person to a person.
Okay.
For people who are willing to work hard and invest in themselves and develop high emotional intelligence, it can be easy for them a little bit to deal with childhood trauma, because they will reach to a point where they will say, it was not my mistake, I was not the perpetrator, I was the victim, and I accept that things happened, and then I'm moving on, dealing with it. Maybe I will go to psychotherapy, maybe I will do something, I'll work on myself to develop. So it's kind of hard for an external person to come and stop someone else's emotional trauma or childhood trauma
Hmm.
to come and affect their relationship. The only thing that one can do is be there, be present, let them know that you are there to support them in their journey to get through this thing, because it's a lifetime process. It's not something which you can say, oh, in 2 years I will be done with the therapy and it's done. There are things which will happen, and then they will stick with you for the rest of your life. You may not be a father right now, but by the time you are a father and you see your child do something, something can trigger you to go back to your childhood traumas which happened. Maybe you had
That's
maybe
right.
an abusive father. Maybe you had a broken home. Maybe you had some extramarital affairs in your family, and then it led to problems and issues. Maybe you had some substance abuse, whether alcohol, drugs, and other things. Whether you had some mental health issues, mental health challenges. It affects the children, because as they grow up and they see all this, their brains, our brains, when we are young, they are not trained yet to accept and know the difference of the two. They don't
Yeah.
know that, oh, today mother is wrong, tomorrow father is wrong. They don't know how to process all that. So they keep on accumulating these things, and it's kind of hard for you to come and remove all of it and say, I'm done with this. It may take
Hmm.
some time. So I will say, this person who asked, it's hard for you to fix someone. Just show them that you are there for them. Show them that I am here to listen to you. I'm here to support you through this journey so that you can deal with what happened during your childhood traumas. Because I cannot change the fact that they happened, whether 10 years ago, whether 20 years ago, whether 30 years ago, they happened. I won't
Hmm.
change that, but I'm there for you. And sometimes it's also learning to give people some personal space.
Okay.
I believe sometimes if we are not too pushy to the people we love, you give them some time, they deal with themselves, and eventually, if you are persistent, you are there to tell them, you know what, when you're ready to talk, I'm here, they will eventually open up to you. And then
And
you
you do
talk.
that to me always.
You know, if you see someone is like, you just say, okay, whenever you have time, just talk back to me. It's okay. I'll be here anytime. It's not necessary. It's now, but take your time. When you feel like you want to talk, I'm here for you. Check on them. Don't give up on them. Like, oh, this person I'm in relationship with, but he doesn't care. He's just like his father. He doesn't call. He doesn't, you know, say, no, 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 no. I'm here. I'm giving you time. How are you doing? A simple text, a simple call. At least they know that someone is out there looking out for me. So when they are ready, they will have plenty of people surrounding them and giving them shield that, we got you. Come talk to me.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. And one thing that is very very beautiful is that relationships are an essential part of our lives. We can't do without relationships. We can't do without friendships. We can't do without human beings because they provide love, support, and companionship. No matter how much we want to be alone, we still, in the very least, have a family. And in the very, very least, our family is our first point of call when we have issues. For some people, their friends are their first point of call. And there are many people that have said their friends are their family because they have a friend that is more closer to them than a family. However, relationships can also be a source of stress and a source of trigger to our psychological issues. There are things that happen sometimes that you love someone so much, and because you love the person so much, in the process of trying to protect the person because you love the person, you are instead pissing the person off or triggering the person or annoying the person. You don't really know exactly what you are doing. For you, it is the love that is playing out. Now, this is more common between a mother and a child relationship than a jealous girlfriend and a boyfriend. Because the only time it would happen between a guy and a girl, that is the only time it will be the guy pissing off the girl because of love, is a guy that is over, love, those people that they say they brought them up as mommy's boy. So, and this affects our psychology, it affects our state of mind, it affects everything. Psychological issues in itself in relationships can be very, very complex and they vary. And they have a very, very significant impact in the well being of individuals and our overall health. Now, there are some psychological issues that can arise in a relationship. And the first thing we've always talked about is communication, right? Because even in this DRS Society 4, everything, all the no, not just even DRS Society 4, DRS Society itself from book 1, book 2, book 3, everything had poured on communication. Communication issues, communication problems, most especially the lack of communication. And communication is the foundation of any healthy relationship. If you want to have a relationship that is going well, you have to communicate. Personally, I have great issues communicating because I don't know. I prefer keeping things to myself than communicating it to my partner because I'll feel like I don't want to bother her with what is going on with me. Very, very recently, I have a very, very, very beautiful friend. Listen, she was going through some things, and in a way, I knew no, in a way, I knew she was going through something, but I didn't want to bother myself too much because myself I have my own things I'm dealing with. So I told her, okay, what's up? Tell me. She wasn't ready to say. I mean, I was like, that carefree attitude I have sometimes. I was like, oh, when you're tired, you will talk, and if you don't talk, no problem. But for her, it was not the case that she didn't want to talk. For her, it was that she didn't want to disturb me with her problems. If we were dating, that would have been an issue because I would be like, I've been asking you, sis, talk, talk, talk. You don't want to talk. And sheesh, you get that kind of thing. So, and when communication breaks down, it leads to misunderstanding. You feel the person isn't ready to tell you something, and you feel the person is telling another person. Because what is the essence of both of you being in love if the person can't tell you what is going on in his or her life, and the person has another friend that they talk to? It causes misunderstanding, it causes hurt in feelings, because one person will definitely be feeling hurt for either not being told what is going on or for telling someone else what is going on when you're supposed to tell the person. And it also causes conflicts. So some people struggle to express themselves clearly or to listen effectively to their partner, which can cause barriers in communication. What do you want to say about that?
So
About this communication?
I was reading something up, and I just remembered there was a journal I was reading. So this person, the article that I had shared in it, they emphasize that we need to so I'll just read one paragraph and then I'll tell you something.
Okay.
In
Okay.
romantic and intimate relationships, working with both partners may be necessary. You and your significant other need to understand that each of you have your own set of needs, expectations, hopes, and dreams. You need to be aware of these to be able to express them to each other. Unstated expectations can be real problems. You and your partner may have different ideas about the nature of your relationship, is different thoughts and feelings regarding what it takes to keep the relationship active and healthy. So this, I think it's true to most of us, that sometimes we come to any sort of relationship. It does not necessarily need to be romantic or intimate relationship. Even in our friendship relationship, uh, what is my expectations, what is my needs, what is my hopes and dreams out of all this relationship? So is it a genuine relationship that I just want friendship with you? Is it that I'm there to get a network? Because sometimes we have relationship with people because of networking issues, that I know that if I network with this guy, I'll get a connection to another place, I'll get a recommendation letter, I'll get this. What is my hopes in the future? Oh, I need this guy to be my lifetime friend, that even if I grow old and we are still alive and we are in a healthy or economic position, this is my guy. I can say when I'm going to a guy's trip or a ladies only trip, I'm going to take this set of friend or this set of men with me because they have been my ride and die all along. So what are the expectations? If we do not communicate, you have raised a very important point when you said it could have been a problem if this lady that you're talking about, she's going through something and she didn't tell you if you were in a relationship. So even if in relationship too, it depends with the depth of your friendship with this person that they will be capable of opening up to you. Sometimes
Mm,
how people say that, oh, I feel like I'm bothering you, it's because they think your nature of relationship, it is still superficial, like, oh, I just know Pagidi for Pagidi. I've not tapped
okay.
into Pakidi's emotion. I've not tapped into depth to get to know him. And maybe he has not done the same to know me. So I feel we are in a position where I can't start to tell him about my things. I can't start to tell him about, oh, today I've got a family issue. Tomorrow I've got this. The day after tomorrow I've got that. We are not yet in that level of relationship. Until we get there, then I'm not going to disturb Pagidi with this thing. So maybe that is her take. Another thing which I'll say is, before we even start to raise argument or to poke fingers that you're messing up this relationship, you are not so good in this relationship, we need to understand their viewpoint. Because
Okay.
as we know that you said we are coming with baggages, we all come with issues. I have my own issue and I'm dealing with them. But until you get to wear my shoes and see what I have gone through, where I've been, for instance, it's hard for other people to have trust. People have trust issues, like maybe they went
I
through a,
even wanted I wanted to mention that
you
self.
know. So There are some people who have like trust issues by nature, like they cannot simply open up because of the experience they had. Maybe they opened up about very personal thing to somebody, and then someone exposed something, or this happened, so forth happened, then they completely shut down. They were very extrovert, and then all of a sudden they become super introvert. They don't want to
Yeah.
take nothing, they don't want to talk with anyone. Then at that point you have to realize the only way to help this person is be in their shoes, that I understand you have trust issues, but I'll take it one step at a time. I'm not going to push you, I'm not going to do anything, but I'm there. I'll show you that I'm there. We will take it step at a step, so that if we are having superficial relationship, we can start to dig deeper and deeper. Maybe one day you start to tell me about what happened and this and this. Then we will get to the bottom of this. Until we
That,
get
that,
to
that
that person, then it's kind of hard to deal with all this.
that's very true, because in a build up from communication issues that affect relationships, trust issue is also there. Trust is also there. Whether with friendship or relationship, trust is also there. Is an essential component of a healthy relationship. And when trust is broken, it can be very, very challenging to repair the relationship. And it can affect how you manifest yourself or express yourself in the new relationship you have. At the beginning of this conversation, I was talking about how personalities from our childhood build up to adulthood. So trust issues has its own role to play in our relationship. And trust issues can arise from past experiences or current behaviors, such as an infidelity, lying, or secrecy. Attachment issues also happens and affects our relationships. Attachment refers to the emotional bond that individuals form with their partners. Attachment styles develop in childhood and can affect adult relationships. People with attachment issues may struggle to form healthy, secure attachments, and they may even feel anxious or avoidant in their relationships. They may also struggle to trust their partner, and fear abandonment, or have difficulty forming close connections with their partners. And these are the psychological issues that affect relationships. Another thing which I mentioned earlier that affects relationships psychologically is a jealous or a possessive person, or someone that is very, very obsessed. These emotions can stem from insecurity, they can stem from trust issues, or they can stem from a need for control. If you remember this film, Acrimony, Acrimony is that movie about a woman who um, had a boyfriend, or I think they were even married. I can't even remember now. But the main thing is that she put all her money in his job because he needed to get a battery to be working. And after a time, the battery wasn't working. All her money got lost in it. And she kind of left him. He went to meet another lady. The lady gave him money and he was able to start the battery and started working. And she became obsessed with him from there because the trust she had for him became broken. And she now wanted to control him. So, jealousy and possessiveness can lead to unhealthy behaviors such as constant monitoring of a partner, whereabouts, accusations of infidelity, or isolating a partner from friends and family. Conflict resolution problems also affect our psychological dealings with our spouse or our girlfriends or our boyfriends. Conflicts are inevitable in any relationship, but they are handled and can have a significant difference in our relationships. Some people may avoid conflict, while others may become overly aggressive or defensive. It is important to learn healthy ways to resolve conflict. There are always healthy ways by which you can resolve conflicts. If you want to talk to the person and the person is not available, you can give the person space. Humphrey talked about that. Give the person space, and after a while, you can come back. But in resolving conflicts, you need to have active listening, compromise, and empathy. And the major part that affects relationships is the mental health issues in itself. Many times when we hear mental health issues, what we first think of is that there are people who are supposed to be in maybe Yaba left or as it were, so places that maybe they have psycho, their brain has code or something. But if when you read Jerry Suicide itself, you find out that one way or another, one in two people, one in two people have mental health issues. We all think we don't have, but we do. And when I read this, when I explain further, you're going to see mental health problems such as anxiety, or do you want to say you don't usually have anxiety issues, such as depression or addiction can impact relationships. These issues can affect communication, they can affect trust, they can affect conflict resolution. And seeking professional help and support is essential for managing these challenges. Some examples of mental health issues, like I said, anxiety. People with anxiety may worry excessively about their relationship. This guy is calling, that guy is calling, I'm not talking with this person, and where has this person been? He has never come back, those kind of thing. Feeling of insecureness. It affects the relationship.
I think you pointed out a lot of things when I was listening from the background,
Yeah.
and I think all that accounts to personal care. It should reach to a point where you can't give what you don't have. Let me just try.
Definitely.
Let me start to say that I cannot offer something which I don't have. Most cases we want to say we want to go into relationships, whether friendship, whether romantic relationship, whether intimate relationship, but we have not developed the capabilities of loving ourselves first. Loving yourselves does not mean necessarily you keep everyone outside your cycle, that I'm not talking to anyone, I'll take myself to vacations, I will treat myself well, I'll go to fancy restaurants and eat good food and drink well and have a nice car and have a nice house and good furnitures. That is not the ultimate goal of you taking care of yourself. Taking care of yourself is, like the celibacy pledge, they say, God help me to accept the things that I cannot control and know the difference
Mm-hmm.
between the two. It's a typical example that it should be our daily prayer, that there are things which are within my control, I can control, and there are things which are beyond my control, but help
Mm.
me to understand the difference. Once I reach to
Yeah.
a point where I understand the difference between the two, and I deal with what is in my control to better myself so that I can help others, I think personal care is the paramount. If I care for myself and I'm well enough, I'll be able to communicate to people. I'll be able to reach out to others who I know they're in distress because I have
Mm-hmm.
trust there. But if I'm not taking care of myself, it will be hard for me even to see the signs, to know when someone is going through something, to realize that there is a problem with this person, you know, until
Yeah,
we
that's
definitely
true.
get to that point, you accepting that I know I have traumas, I have to go for psychotherapy, I need to talk with someone. I don't trust none of my friends, I don't trust none of my siblings or anyone to talk with them about this trouble. Then let me go seek help to a person who is medically certified to deal with all these baggages that I have, to talk about it. Sometimes there is that sense of relief when you just talk
Mm-hmm.
about this.
Mm-hmm.
You're going through a distress and you get a phone call from a friend, hey, how are you doing? And if you open up, you're like, oh, it was that easy for me to get all this burden over my shoulder. So sometimes even talking, accepting that, oh, I need to take care of myself is also important. And that nature that, oh, mental health issues don't exist. You have said a very important point that almost all of us have some issues in one way or the other. It may not be manifested in terms of clinical, it may not fit to clinical psychological parameters, that this person needs
Mm-hmm.
medicine, maybe they have schizophrenia,
Yeah,
maybe they have anxiety, maybe they have it may not fit in those parameters, but in one way or the other, there are people who are very naturally possessive. There are people
definitely.
who are very self-centered, like they want everything to be about them.
To be,
They
yes.
suck energy from everyone around them and they want all that energy to be reflected upon them. There are people who are shopaholics, like they are addicted to shopping. Like they get money on the 30th when they are paid. By the time it's on the 5th of the next month, money's gone. You ask them, they're like, I bought this, I bought this. You're like, you didn't know that the next month have also 30 days and you have to plan accordingly. I mean, let's be realistic. So, in one way or the other, there are people who are naturally gossipers. They cannot let go of a story. They
Mm.
want that story to
Mm-hmm.
go around the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
it's not clinical parameter that this is a psychological issue, but if you find yourself in a cycle where you're repetitive doing something, you are training that your dopamine to be excited with something at a certain point. It won't end there. It will want more and more and more and more. That's why the cycle is still there. It's the same thing
That's
for addiction. What is the character of addiction? Not being able to control something, keeping on repeating the same thing. Someone who is a drug user, they don't use the same amount of drug throughout their life. Like, oh, if I'm a smoker, I'll smoke only one packet of cigarette a day for the rest of my life. No, they started
no.
with only one cigarette a day, but someone
Mm-hmm.
ends up taking two packets. That's like 24, 30 cigarettes a day because it keeps on increasing. Your dopamine is not satisfied at this level, it will want more. Your dopamine is not
Mm-hmm.
satisfied, it is numb now that it doesn't feel, it will want more and more and more.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the same thing. We are all victims in one way or the other, and we just need to accept. And by accepting, we need to put ourselves first that I am going to take care of myself. Whether it is through spiritual counseling, there are people who believe in religion and they trust that they can go through that route. Well and good, then seek spiritual counseling. There are people who want to go for clinical psychotherapies and other things, go for that. There are people who believe in Buddhism and meditation and
Or
the power
yoga.
of yoga. Do that, but do something towards making yourself better. It doesn't matter what, but do something. Until I am at a point where my cup is filled, then it can overflow to others. I can transfer that level of commitment, that level of happiness, that level of greatness to others. And it needs to be pure because in most cases now, I want to give a disclaimer. There are people in our community, in our society, the people so-called influencers, the people called, people who are
Mm-hmm.
role models to people. Sometimes they put this false imagery of happiness, but behind the scenes they're going through things. They are forcing
Yes.
other people to try to meditate the same way. We see people ending up committing suicide, people committing mass murders, but these people were the happiest people. They were the center of the party. If we go to a party and we miss this person, that is not a party. We need that person to come and give the vibe, you know? So we need to check on one another. And until someone realizes that, you know what, I think it's time for me to take care of myself before I give, then it's going to be hard for us to deal with this cycle which keeps on recurring every single day.
Wow, well, you said a lot of things there, which are very very important in dealing with mental health issues, and the climax of all these things is suicide in itself. And this is the main thing that made me bring up this topic, because we have a face that shows that this is what we do, but behind that face there is the real us. And now I am not talking about bad habits or this, I'm talking about the happy face people show to prove to the world that they are very very okay, or that their relationship is going very very smooth and fine. My boo and I, my bestie and I, this and that. But behind the scene, great terrible toxic issues going on that they cannot talk about. It affects their anxiety, it affects their stress level, it builds up into depression. People think depression is just when you are sad. What constitutes sadness? What constitutes sadness? And sadness that builds up over time is what leads to depression. Depression cannot just come upon you in itself. You say you don't have money and you're depressed. You're not depressed, you're just broke.
Yeah.
You're not depressed, you're just broke. But if it is that you've been losing a certain amount of money over a long period of time, maybe you've been engaging in gambling and you've been losing that bet. I made mention of that in my book. You playing bets, losing Arsenal or Chelsea or Man City over time. sorry, sorry for that. But so over
Yes.
time, it builds up into depression because you are losing two odds every time, or 1.01 odds every time. It's building up into depression.
But
Or
now
you
the
are
problem
having,
is Spaghetti. Why do you
yeah,
keep on doing something which you know it harms you? Like if I gamble today, it makes me
okay.
sad. Why do I need to go again and do it?
One thing with addiction is that, and that's why, in fact, I still hope, in fact, I should include it. I've said it that we're having a next series in June, so I should even include the topic addiction. Let me write it down so that to see if we can have that discussion. One thing with addiction is that people see addiction as a, firstly, the definition of addiction according to them is something bad, but I will not take it that way. I'll take addiction as something good. It is my own personal opinion, and I'll give an explanation to it. You are doing something, if you know you can stop that thing, you are definitely going to stop it. It's because you don't have the capacity to stop it. If a child touches a fire the first time, second time, third time, he knows that this is fire and he will remove his hand. But in our own case, it is because, now making reference to gambling, it is because you've lost this money. You want to recover. Maybe you have, let's start with $1,000, and you use $500 in gambling. You lost that $500. You are left with how much? $500. What you planned to have is maybe $1,500. So now with that $500 you have left, you want to see how you can recover the $500 again, so as to go back to $1,000. Because if you don't do anything, it stays back and you don't have anything. So in the process of trying to get that additional $500, you lose the second one. You are left with nothing. Someone gives you another money. You now say, okay, I want to recover the $1,000 that I've lost earlier on. And it continues like that. If you have something else you are doing, you would not feel that loss. That's why someone like Drake, Drake stakes bets. I don't know. I know the thing trends every once in a while, that maybe you stake $1 million or 3 million Canadian dollars, but the guy is very, very rich. So those money self, and maybe it's not even his personal money. So if we can remove that thing that we are addicted with and add something and replace it with something else, it helps with the addiction. So, but if we remove that addiction and we don't put something else to replace it, that's where the problem comes in. So, for, let's say, Christians who are, I don't even know which example I can use now. Christians who are fornicating, yeah, let's put it that way. Christians who are fornicating, and they say that stop fornicating, this and that. You take away the fornication. What do you use to replace it? Maybe social gatherings, fellowship, prayer and fasting. It's not just that you removed the fornication. So now you are no longer addicted to fornication. You are now addicted to prayer. You are now addicted to reading the word of God. You are now, oh, are you feeling the move of the spirits? So you're not addicted to something else that takes away the previous thing. I think that's what happens with the process of addiction.
I think also, just to add on to that, I think we should learn the art of substituting, healthy substitution. So
Yeah.
if you remove something that is bad, you get a healthier option to substitute it. Because as a human being, your brain will have a void that
Mm-hmm.
needs to be filled. So find something that is fulfilling to you. That, okay, maybe I like music. Find device to listen to music. Listen to your music. Oh, I like sports. get connection of channels or sports channel which you like, substitute it to that. And one thing is, I will try to, I'm paraphrasing them from the Bible. They say, whatever you do, do it in moderation.
Okay.
So even if you're getting substitution of something else, don't make it also your addiction. I'm not saying prayer is bad, but if you tell me you're praying 12 hours a day, what time are you going to work? You hear me?
Yes.
Everything you do
Yes.
with moderation. Yes, I'm substituting. It's a healthier substitution. I'm going to read the word of God. I'm going to pray. I'm going to fast, but I'm doing it with moderation because I can't fast for 5 consecutive days. Maybe I've
I
got
mean,
work to go. By the time I'm on the second day, I've fasted for 48 hours. When I go to the 36 hours, I mean, I won't survive. By the time it's 72 hours, it's
mm-hmm.
going to be hard for you to even be physically able to go do work. you know so healthy substitution, healthy dealing with the issues, and prioritizing that yourself. When you are better, you are making the other people better. I gave you the example of the moon and the sun and the other thing last time. That
Okay.
brings
Yes.
all.
Yes.
I think that's a healthier way of you reflecting yourself. When I am affected, so it's like when we are having an eclipse, when the moon is right in between the sun and the earth, and then there's darkness on one side of the earth because the moon is obstructing the sunlight to reach the
Mm-hmm.
face of the earth. Consider me and you, we consider ourselves like this moon right in between. Whatever we do, whatever decision we make, we tend to affect the things around us.
That's right. Hmm.
We can either shed light to them when we decided to move and allow the light to be there, or if we stay in between, we will be darkness and they won't see any light.
So that thing.
To that.
Hmm.
So how we react to things, how we better ourselves, how we position or where we position ourselves can allow people to have light into their matters as well. So it's a matter of realizing, oh, whatever decision I make, it's only benefiting me or destroying me. There are people, there are consequences when they go around, it will get to them.
That's very true. That's very true. And one thing I wanted to bring up again is our personalities. We don't talk about our personalities enough. We don't talk about our temperaments enough. We don't talk about our characters enough. Sometimes we even will I say negatize the topic of zodiac signs. And yeah, many people say it is an abusive topic, that it only makes you talk about it only makes you validate your negative characters and all that. But if we are still talking about issues people have with relationships, psychological issues people have with relationships, then there's a need to discuss personalities, there's a need to discuss temperament, there's a need to understand how your character works, to the extent that these personalities, these temperaments, these characters, they also have disorders. As much as they have their strengths, they also have their disorders. So certain personality disorders, such as borderline personality disorder and narcissism, can create a significant challenge in a relationship. And narcissism, we can replace, or no, not replace, we can borrow it with the word obsessiveness or possessiveness, trying
Yes,
to have control
over
over
there.
what the person is in, because maybe you felt in your growing up life you didn't have enough control, or in your growing up life they gave you so much control that you feel you're on top of the world, so you can do anything you like. The time you are having those control at your growing up life, they were not really correcting you. They were just allowing you be, just saying, leave him, let him cry, leave him, let him do this, let him do that. And you now became a full-blown matured adult that is possessive. It affects. And these things can cause emotional instability. They can cause impulsiveness when you just become, I mean, you become a problem to the person next to you, and you become a problem to yourself. Sometimes you cannot even control how problematic you are to yourself, and it creates tension, it creates conflict, it creates problems in the relationship. If you look at the borderline in itself, sometimes you do something, but you don't know how you do it. You don't have the control of how that thing happens, and it brings struggle, intense struggle with your emotions. So when we look at all these issues altogether, inclusive of post-traumatic stress disorder, it has a long-term effect on how we manage our relationships.
I
So
think we have become so good. Sorry to interrupt. We have
yeah.
become so good at making analysis of business ventures and the things which are tied to economics, but we are incapable or we are neglecting to do the same to personal self. So
Yes.
the SWOT analysis, the strength, weaknesses, opportunity, and threats, you can do those analysis to your personal self. You know that I have strength in which area, I have weaknesses in which area. I see what opportunities that I can utilize to better myself. And then
Mm-hmm.
what are the threats around me? What can harm me? Okay, for instance, there are people who maybe they're recovering addicts, or they have some addictive behaviors. They are threatened by environment. If I go to an environment where I can easily get access to drugs and I know I'm a recovering drug addict, I should not. That's a threat to me. I should not expose myself to that. I should not leave myself to the open because the drugs will get to me. Once
Yes.
I get hold of it and I know I've been a user, I'm likely to slide back and go back to it. If I see that there is an opportunity to do a business venture or to attach myself with someone who will make me a better person, I should see that as an opportunity that, you know what, I will come back and then do something about it at the end of the day. I will come, I will learn, then I will better myself. Then if I see that what are my strengths, maybe um, I'm a very hardworking person. I'm a multitasker.
Okay.
I use that to my advantage. That okay, if I am a multitasker, let me add the streams of my income to multiple entries. Then I better myself. If I have
Mm-hmm.
threats, I know that my weaknesses. What are my weaknesses? Oh, I'm a very poor communicator. Then let me work on that. How can I become a better communicator? If I know that I can't do a one-to-one talk, I can use a paper and a pen. I say, okay, I will write all my thoughts.
Right.
When I'm quiet in
Yes.
my room and nobody's disturbing me outside, I will write whatever I want to communicate. When you come, I'll just hand you the paper. Read. Okay?
And I was doing that too, but yeah.
Because it makes your life easy to communicate. That I know that when I come and I see you, I will freeze. I will not be able to say whatever I want to say. Maybe it's a very depth topic that I want to tell you. Maybe it is something super serious. Maybe it's how I feel about you. Maybe I want to express my anger towards you that you did something, and maybe I know about it and I'm trying to tell you that that was not nice. I can write it down and then I just hand you the paper. No, I don't want to offend you, because if I talk, maybe I have a weakness and I will say something which I
Mm-hmm.
on paper. I will rather write. If I write, I can read and read twice or three times or four times to make sure that all the facts are there. Easy way. We
That's
need
very
to
true.
do that to ourselves too. We should not only do a SWOT analysis to business, we should do the SWOT analysis
Do a
to our
SWOT analysis to our lives and our personal. Yeah, that's very, very true. So yeah, so it's important to remember that everyone has their struggle, and it is also important to how did you put it, to acknowledge, to accept and acknowledge your own struggle as well, because that's where the SWOT analysis would come in. When you accept, when you acknowledge and you accept your own struggles, you would know how best to deal with, either to deal with um, your challenges, or to manage it when dealing with other people. So you know how best to speak, how best not to speak, how best to react, how best not to react, when to say all this thing. And most importantly, it is very, very, very okay to seek help. There is never a harm in seeking help. You just have to find the right person. And if for any reason you can't find the right person, somehow it could mean that you yourself, you're a problem. somehow, why I use the word somehow is that I am still a very, very strong advocate that nobody is rubbish, that no matter how bad someone is, the person is still important. But if for any reason you can't even find one person to speak to or talk to, perhaps you have pushed yourself so in that you can't see. I mean, in the entire world, you can't find one person to share your problems with.
Over
No.
seven point something billion people.
Thank you. So, I mean, so even if you can't find physical, you will definitely see online. So it is very, very important to seek help from a mental health professional. I was just sharing on my WhatsApp status last night that I've been having a session with two people who came to me for help. They they want to they have issues going into marriage, and their own issues is how to handle open relationship in their marriage. so they want to see how best they can handle it, and I was so glad they came to meet me, and for them to come and meet me, most likely because they've seen the kind of things I speak about, they've seen the kind of things I talk about, and they see me as someone that is approachable to them. So, and we've been having this talk, these sessions, trying to understand them the more and trying to give them solution. And in fact, I knew I'm not the one that will give them the solution to their problem. They are still the one that will make the choice. But the mere fact that they are discussing with a professional helps to neutralize or clarify or bring clarity to their problems. So therapy can help individuals learn coping strategies and communication skills that can strengthen their relationship. Working through psychological problems in a relationship takes effort and it takes commitment from both partners. It's not just one person. Both partners have to be committed before that relationship can work. If there is no commitment from both partners, then it will lead to what? The breakup in the relationship. So, with the right support, it is possible to build a healthy and fulfilling relationship in our lives. But when the support doesn't come, um, it leaves us with no other choice but to break up. So, what do you have to say about that before we call it
Wow.
a day?
I think we as youth of this generation, we need to change the narrative that we should normalize speaking up. We should normalize accepting that there are things which are beyond our control. We should normalize that we can agree to disagree. Me and
Mm-hmm.
you, we are different people, but yet we can have different opinions. And you are entitled to your opinion. I'm entitled to my opinion. There is one person maybe will be, I like this thing. I like orange juice. Somebody else may say, no, I don't want orange juice for breakfast. Other people
Mm-hmm.
will want maybe apple juice or something. It's okay to have your own opinion. Other people will be like, oh, it's okay to be mad. It's okay to hold the grudges. Other people will be like, no, I'm not going to hold grudges against anyone because it's dragging me down. You're entitled to your opinion. However, the most important thing, as you have said, is realizing your breaking point. At
Mm-hmm.
that time, don't wait until the crisis is too much that it has caused you to be in trouble. Don't let your feelings, your emotions get you in trouble. Then you realize, oh, now I need to seek help. You are not going to seek help when you have already shot someone, when you have already uh, punched someone on the face and you're having a lawsuit against you that is coming. You are not going to, you are not going to start to seek help when you caned your children a lot until they are taken to the hospital because you were so angry and you were repulsive, and then you just beat them to until to the point they went to the hospital. Why don't we take a step back and assess that this is not the kind of person that I want to be? I need to work
Mm-hmm.
through myself. And you have said a very important point. Yes, seeking professional counseling might be maybe costly and expensive, but you can have a person who you can talk to. I believe that everyone is an angel to someone out there. I might be an angel to someone out, and as soon as they reach out, I will reach back to them. So put yourself in the shoes that I am ready to help whoever is coming to me. But before I do that, I need to work on myself. Let me get my angel so that when I'm overwhelmed, When I am in a position where it is too much for me, I have a place to vent, whether it is through professional guidance counselors or through a very intimate friend or person that you can talk with. It could be a friend, it could be a sibling, it could be a parent, it could be grandparent, anyone that you are willing to open up to, that you're willing to say. You hear that concept of, I'm just an open book. We are not all open book. Not all things that I talk with you, I can talk with somebody else. All the things that I talk maybe with my significant other, they're not the same thing I'll talk to just a random friend. So
Mm-hmm.
try to be an open book to a person that you really want them to be there for you.
Mm-hmm.
And we should learn also that relationship have expiry date as well. Sometimes I'm telling you, I mean, we are holding on. If I ask myself, I look back and I say, from my primary school level, how many friends I have or I had then, and how many they have still lasted up to right now, they're probably less
Mm-hmm.
than 10.
Mm.
My high
Wow.
school, my
Wow.
high school
Wow.
friends, they're probably less than 10, but I still have them. So depending on the nature of relationship that we build then and how each and every one of us made commitment to take this relationship further, that's why we are still there for one another. So if a relationship is meant to go, it's okay, you can let it go. Because
Mm.
sometimes one thing which people tend to become too much attached to a point that they lose themselves in it. You give
Mm-hmm.
too much to an extent you lose yourself to it. You are always
Mm.
the first one texting. You are always the first one calling. You are always the first one sending emails. You are always the first one setting meeting reminders and this and that. And then other person, you see, they don't do any effort. If we cannot meet in the middle ground, then that relationship is not meant to be a long haul. You can be my friend from a distance. That is also okay. I can be your friend. I check on you once in a while, but if you're not willing to walk with me through this process, if I'm putting my effort and you're not putting your effort, then we should agree that sometimes it's okay to be there.
Yeah. Yeah. And I wanted to read comments that I just saw that you made in the private chat box, that in a romantic and intimate relationship, working with both partners may be necessary. You and your significant other need to understand that each of you have your own set of needs, expectations, hopes, and dreams. You need to be aware of these and be able to express them to each other. Unstated expectations can be a real problem. Yes, unstated expectations can be a real problem. You and your partner may have different ideas about what the nature of your relationship is, and different thoughts and feelings regarding what it takes to keep the relationship. So, but when you now, both of you have different ideas, but when you now talk about these ideas, it may help to now bring you guys to a middle ground. So we've been talking so far on Jerry's Suicide Book 4, and we've been talking so far on psychological issues in relationships. And I just want to show our audience a trailer from the book.
Our minds are troubled by the emptiness. Destroy the middle, it's a waste of time. Shadows settle on the place that you left. Our minds are troubled by the emptiness. Destroy the middle, it's a waste of time. From the perfect start. And if you're still breathing, you're the lucky ones. 'Cause most of us are heaving through corrupted lungs, setting fire to our insides for fun, collecting names of the lovers that went wrong, the lovers that
Okay, were you able to see that?
Yes, yes, yes. It was
Okay.
visible. Yes.
Yeah, so that's just a video from Dearest Suicide 4, where I've written book 1, When Suicide Becomes the Healing You Need, book 2, Sometimes Death Becomes the Only Option, book 3, um, Emotional Crisis, Mental Health, Depression, book 4, The Beginning of the End. And now book 5 will be coming out in some weeks' time. Will be coming out in some weeks' time, which
Yes,
brings
sir.
to an end the entire 1 year project of this book, where we've been having massive discussions on several and different issues that concerns the human life, from the sex itself to relationship to family life to emotions, to depression and suicide in itself. So I'm so happy we started this mental health training with you, and we are now bringing it to an end with you as well. So it makes it feel like that. It makes it feel like that God status where you're the alpha and you're the omega, you're the beginning, and you're now the end of it. So I'm so happy to always have you on board anytime we have to discuss, because there's always a lot we have to talk about, such that even sometimes times we don't know when time takes a lot. We just planned 60 minutes for this, right? We just planned
Yes.
60 minutes for this,
We have
and we
done
already
97 minutes at the moment.
I'm telling you. So I'm just happy that we always have opportunities to do this together. I'm always happy, and I'm looking forward to us having the final session of the book launch next month, May 12th. Karma is a beach. So
Yes.
yeah, I'm looking forward to having that book discussion with you, because I know that it's going to be, I mean, I can't even wait for the video trailer for that also, because we've been working so hard to give our audience the best. And I know that the best for everything we are still doing is still yet to come. So this session has finally come to an end. And cannot but thank you so much for your time, for your patience, for the opportunity to have you been able to share all your knowledge of experience with us. And you agree with me that this program has been a very good one. We did not imagine that it would be as it is, but it's been a very wonderful one. And to our audience as well, I'm so grateful for always having you watch us. I can see Mary. There are too many of you. I want to personally, I want to appreciate Nelson Osage, who has always been sharing data for most of our audience to be able to watch or participate in these programs. I pray that the money you are having, you will continue to have it in Jesus' name. So, but before we go, do you have any final words for our audience?
Always a pleasure to be here, Pagidi. So, to our audience, I think let's change the narrative. We are a better generation than our ancestors. We can change the narrative, and there's no age where you're saying I'm too old to change the way I act. Oh, this is where I've been born. This is how I've been raised. You can always make change. It's never too late, provided
Hmm,
you have a genuine intention to make changes. Walk baby steps, just like how a baby starts to crawl and then takes one step and then drops back. They persevere until they run and they grow up, they become marathon runners. Do that. Baby
hmm,
steps, baby steps,
hmm.
one step at a time. Let's change the narrative. We will get there. Taking care of
Wow.
ourselves should be the primary goal. Help the people around you. Be the light. Move yourself in a position where you can strategically help others to see the light.
Hmm. Wow. So that I really love that. taking baby steps, no matter how small it is. Just continue
Yes.
trying to improve yourself. It is not necessarily that you have to be the good person per se, but just trying to improve yourself at every point in time. And I also love the point you made about events, that events will always happen. So when events happen, accept that they've happened, acknowledge it, forgive yourself, and move on, so that you'll be able to take off the traumas of the past and look forward to better days and better things that lies ahead in our future, because this world and this life is limitless and endless, and we'll always have opportunities to enjoy new things. So from here, I would say it's a bye for now. And I don't want us to go, but we just have to go. So bye bye everyone, and
If you put only one but, then you'll open another chapter of.
so thank you everyone for sticking with us. Thank you for having us this afternoon, and we also thank you for staying with us. Enjoy the rest of the Sunday afternoon, and I pray and hope by the time we'll be coming back again, Arsenal should have lifted the English Premier League.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much. Have a good one.
Yes.
All right.